Holding Ryan, and you know, it wouldn't be Formula Drift if we didn't get a little oil on the track, so thank you for your patience as we were to begin. But one of the vehicles, don't know exactly who, but oil hit the track, cleaned it up. So Ryan, the protocol here is that we're actually going to allow a sight lap because this is something new that they didn't see in practice. So when we see not just one vehicle but two vehicles line up, well, and you could see right there, you could see all of the basically like oil absorbing material that is has been cleaned up. So the order of operations here is we're going to jump into top 32, and we do have some buy runs, but now I'm going to throw it down to our homegirl on the ground, Lorette Nickel. Lorette.
Yves Meyer in his rookie pro season in the HGK build, unfortunately was spilling some oil.
Nothing.
To mess up your practice runs. Yeah. And yeah, lost also my practice, so it will be a...
Chelsea.
All
you
right,
know,
so
as you said, I'm in my rookie season, so if I can improve my style and of Chelsea, I'm happy with that. And if I win, I'm the happiest man alive.
All right, Yves, thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
And
guys,
again, thank you, Lorette, as we are tightening up here, tightening up the course. And you got to think, Ryan, what's going through the drivers' minds? They're ready. They're eager. They've been waiting almost a year for this. And hold on.
Yeah, and tough break for Yves. Obviously, you know, that's not what he wanted to do for his vehicle and not what he wanted to see in, you know, getting a delayed start here. So bummer for him. But as you said, Jared, we will need to give the drivers at least an initial sight lap, and it'll be a non-drifting lap just to check out the conditions of the course. We tarred it off. We burned it down. It should be pretty good, but, you know, the drivers really want to make sure that they can give the full performance.
Okay, and I believe we were supposed to see the buy runs, but have not. There he is. Yes, so Kazuya Taguchi, this is his buy run. He, with that slot, like you said, Ryan, pulled the card there with Frederick Oswald being the highest ranked driver in attendance, and it bears repeating. You know,
I have
James Dean
Yves.
and
We can
Peter
do it
Visick
again.
is not here, so as Kazuya Taguchi slotted in that #1 spot, so him, and later on we'll see Justin Pollock and Matt Field with their buy run. So Kazuya Taguchi, great to see him back out here. I know he was campaigning at GTR for a few years, and then now jumping the S15, he just looks really dialed. Last year he was really coming on strong. He's going to be one to watch here that is making a name for himself over the past few years. So the Up Garage GT Radial S15, this will be a buy run for him, and he'll advance on the top 16. He's going to go against one of the two competitors that is in our first battle of the Pro Championship of the 2020 season. But here goes Kazuya Taguchi on his buy run. You can see the crutch pop there, the signature trunk holder for Matt Field and his team. Here comes Kazuya Taguchi in his buy run. Official turn and burn, the first run, Ryan, of the 2020 FD season.
Well, we know this part of the course is perfectly fine as Taguchi gets an opportunity one last time to get a feel here, and right here is where that oil's down, but you can see it's on the inside of the line, so at least if drivers are driving on the correct line to the outside zone, it's not going to have any impact, but it does look like that they did a pretty good job of cleaning that thing up and keeping the grip where we need it to be in order to have some good drifting here in a very important part of the course, Jared.
Yeah, and you could see where exactly that spilled. So it looks like, as we spoke to Yves Meyer earlier, that it was coming out of the front end. So he had a good line there, you know, if it's any default, and that is going to be on the front tire. So Ryan Littoral warming up his GT Radial tires, rounding out that GT Radial trio. Travis Reeder joining them as well. The Power Stop Brakes GT Radial 350Z, and saw this vehicle out at Grid Life a couple weeks ago. A lot of testing and tuning before jumping into the 2020 season. So Ryan Littoral, it's about to get lit, literally, from Ryan Littoral. And he's going to be going against another Nissan Z, both gentlemen V8s, and that is Jeff Jones. So Mr. Jones going to be jumping up there as Ryan Littoral waits patiently on this start line. There's Jones, the Edelbrock Power Doc 370Z. That burnout box just on the other side, on the inside of the track. So this is their sight lap here for Ryan Littoral. Throwing some more heat in the tires as
Yeah, I don't think Ryan wants to really drift this, and we're telling them not to because obviously these tires have a hard enough time holding up to 2 laps. So this is really just about checking the surface in that area and feeling confident about it.
Right.
And it looks like Ryan is passing through that outside zone. He's got a good look at it there.
All right, we are practicing social distancing here. As again, wearing masks, you do need to wear your mask at all times in the paddock area, and you will not be served if you're here in the building for food and drink. All right, Ryan, taking a look at the matchups here for our top 32. As we said, 3 buys.
Yeah, lots of great matchups there. You can see some of the new guys coming in. Tyler Nelson, Yves Meyer, got Farouk back in the mix. Joao was able to make it in from Brazil. Of course, the big matchup there between Chris Forsberg and Adam LZ. And then we've got Matt Field, Justin Pollock, and Kazuya Taguchi with a bye. Also, Jonathan Narin and Wataru Masuyama coming in as new drivers this year. And I got to tell you, Jared, Michael Essa's in for a ride here if what we've seen from Masuyama in Japan holds over here in the States. That's going to be a tough battle on the 32.
It's been an exciting road to get to this event, and yeah, like you said, Narin. Also, Rome Charpentier, if you saw social media on him, a wild ride. Him and his team and his wife, they in New Mexico rolled the truck twice. Glad to see, first and foremost, he's okay, and the vehicle. It just took a couple slaps on the trunk, and the car is back, and he is competing. So it's great to see Rome.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Just unbelievable.
Wow. So I'm just happy to see him, and everybody's okay. And for the vehicle to be okay is just icing on the cake.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they made it out of that and they were able to get here and that nobody was seriously hurt, just a miracle, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, I love the camaraderie, and I've heard some stories kind of unfold about it. I can relate to this. Me moving and my family, Arizona, California, we actually got in a truck accident as well, and the camaraderie of coming from the drifting community and the motorsports community has been tremendous. So I can definitely attest to the family that does exist, and like Dylan said, getting the family and getting the band back together, and we're about to rock and roll here. Speaking of the band, Jeff Jones and Ryan Littoral. Ryan Littoral will lead. He got that number 16 spot. Jeff Jones in the 17th spot. Again, that was all based off of pulling the 1 and then going to the ascending. So Ryan Littoral will have the lead according to that. Ryan, both V8 370 or 350Zs. This looks like Jeff Jones backing up as Littoral waits patiently. Jeff Jones maybe want to put another little heat cycle in there.
No, I think they are waiting for us, and so Jeff Jones back off the line, and you may want to put some more heat in the tires. But that's your matchup right there. Ryan Littoral and Jeff Jones doing battle. Who you got, Jared?
This is a toss-up between these two guys. Ryan Littoral definitely has an X factor sometimes. It can bite him if he goes in too hard, and I've seen him do that. And Jeff Jones, the same thing. I mean, you've deemed him the relentless one, and he is relentless. He's just tenacious. He wants to get out there. He wants to put on a show for his wife, and his dogs are at home watching as well. I know they're big dog lovers. But Ryan Littoral from the Riverside area, and excited to see both these guys from Southern California put it down for the first time here in the 2020 season. Hashtag FDSTL. Shout out to my family at home. Thank you to the Deenda clan back in California watching. So here we go. We're about to send it for the first time in the Pro Championship head-to-head battle. Ryan Littoral will lead. GT Radial Power Stop 350Z. Jeff Jones giving chase in that Doc Edelbrock 370Z, initiating that first outside zone. There goes Ryan Littoral. Let's see how the transition goes. Jeff Jones not allowing any room. Oh, from that angle you see quite a bit of room, and now it looks like he tightens it up. Now into the third outer zone. Oh, barely dipping that GT Radial into the dirt. Maybe even just hovering. Little hover hand into that final outside zone, Ryan. Great way to start our 2020 season.
Yeah, 2 evenly matched drivers here, very close in the rankings coming out of 2019, and a good kickoff here to the first round of the Pro Championship as we see Ryan Littoral and Jeff Jones do battle. We'll take a look at the replay here. Both get out of the gate right around the same time. Littoral gets a nice initiation early on, just right at that second standing cone, but look at Jeff Jones diving in right there, staying on that line. Great job by Jones to keep that proximity on. Littoral filling that second outside zone. Jones surging now, pushing to the outside as Littoral great job, but look at Jeff Jones keeping the pace on. Incredible job there as Literal goes into the zone, fills it at the beginning, comes out of it a little bit in the middle, but then stays deep towards the end. But Jeff Jones, what a great job of chasing here, managing that smoke line, just keeping out of it just so he can kind of see where he's going and see the mirroring of the transitions there, Jared. Incredible job right there by Jeff Jones in the chase position.
All right, let's alternate the order. Jeff Jones will now lead, debuting that new livery, and Ryan Literal. Both these guys, great looking vehicles, looking good. They've had an opportunity to really test and tune, get their cars dialed, and here it is. Like Osbo was saying, just overall, just, you know, getting the cobwebs out, shaking them out, getting ready, the car's dialed, getting the mind right. Here we go. Jeff Jones out front. There are the 3, 2, 1, initiate, boom. There you go, Jeff Jones. Looks like he dips that back right just a little bit into the dirt. Now coming to that one and only front clip, tightens it up. Ryan Literal just barely tapping it. You can see that separation there between Jones and Literal. Now how are they gonna fare in that final outside zone? Look at Literal lunging forward. Jeff Jones, a lot more fluid on the front end of that battle.
Well, not an easy one right out of the gate, right, Jared? Definitely a good one to watch for us and the fans as we see Jeff Jones and Ryan Literal switching positions. Going to the replay now. Let's take a look. Jones out front, nice little initiation. Gets deep into that zone. Literal behind him, trying to stay as close as he can. He surges right here. This is where we see drivers bunch up, and then Jones gets a good jump out of the inside clip, pulls some separation, and you can see that Literal was on a tighter line there in outside zone 3. He takes a slightly tighter line here to gain proximity, and that was probably a good move. But let's watch Jeff Jones lead run. He fills that second outside zone completely. Nice fluid motion into that inside clip, pushing out wide here, and he's able to get the entire zone. This is a solid lead run from Jeff, putting the car in the right places, and he went a little bit deeper into that final outside zone and stayed on a consistent line. So is that enough for Jeff Jones to get the first win of 2020?
You can see Jeff Jones just kind of tempering it and more fluid, you know, especially on that last outside zone and the chase position. And we were talking about it yesterday, and you saw in Pro 2, if you start to lose some ground at that halfway point, essentially that one and only front clip, that's going to throw you off the back half of that run. So here we go. We have Ryan Literal or Jeff Jones. Slide him left for Literal, right for Jones, and it looks like Chris Ewell, our new judge here, siding with Ryan Literal. One more time from Ryan Lontaine and Brian Edgar, our final judge, and it's a split decision across the board. So we got Literal, Jones, and a one more time. They're going one more time. There's Mr. Sopa giving them the universal hand signal for one more time. So they're going at it again, and Ryan, I truly agree. Different angles there, like I said, on when Jeff Jones was in the chase position, it looked like he was really close to him. You changed angle, and there was quite a bit of distance between the two. So getting all the different angles, getting the perspective for the judges to really digest both runs. Lead versus lead, chase versus chase. It is not an enviable job, but it is, you know, you got to scrutinize it. You really got to split all the hair. So again, we got Chris Ewell, we got Ryan Lontaine, and Brian Egger. Brian, down to you real quick, talking and wrapping out with you. What do you think of the 2020 season? It's great to see you back here, and just overall, like I say, it's an unenviable position, but it's also exciting too.
It is, and I'm just glad to be back. It's somewhat normal by being here, and it takes our minds off things, but the drivers this year, I think Pro 2 really stepped it up yesterday. They progressed a lot over practice over the weekend, and then yesterday threw down some amazing runs. The guys did great. Pro, as always, puts on a good show, and I feel like that first battle is just a testament to how well everyone still is for being a little, I guess, out of the loop, since it's been almost a year since we last had an event.
Right, pretty crazy. If you would elaborate on why you sided with Jones, right? I believe you went with Jones, and your other judges went one more time and with Ryan Literal.
I did. It was actually a really close battle. They both had similar mistakes on the lead runs, which were good. They both dropped a tire. Other than that, they did pretty much what was asked. It came down to basically the chase. I think they both made mistakes in outer zone 4, but Jeff Jones' proximity was a lot closer throughout the duration of the run. And also he had really good mimic with transitioning with the same time as Literal did.
All right, well, thank you so much, Brian. We'll get some insight from you. Speaking on behalf of the judges, again, Chris Yule, a new judge here in the 2020 season. Robin Ishida was to join us, but him residing in Japan didn't want to risk having a quarantine either coming over here or going back to Japan, because he does double duty with Formula Drift Japan and Formula Drift here in the States. So Brian Eggert speaking on behalf of our judges. Ryan Lontaine coming back for a multiple season experience as well. So Michael Essa, as I said, a former champ behind the wheel of his BMW. He is going against an FD rookie, Masayama, out there in, you can see the Buy Now Japan S15. Ryan, have you seen him compete at FD Japan? I know you've spent some time over there, and you've seen it. And
oh yeah, I've seen him compete plenty, up close and personal in the booth, in practice. He is no joke for sure. If you don't know him, get to know this name. He is going to be a definite threat this year. He's a top 3 driver for a number of seasons in FD Japan, very close to a championship. He's got a few wins, and that car right there is the car that he competes with in FD Japan, brought it over here, and it has got a really incredible way that it drifts, and the angle that he's able to hold is quite amazing. So I'm hoping we're going to see some of that here today. But of course, he's got a champion in front of him right now.
Yeah, Michael Essa, very fluid, and he's one of the quickest drivers through the course, but keeps it very smooth. And I got to imagine Masayama definitely has that kind of J style, and you can see it right there with that nice flick, drops into formation. But Michael Essa powers his way through that third outside zone. Masayama falling back a little bit there, and a correction from Masayama as he goes into that fourth outer zone, Ryan. And, you know, different styles, you know, going over to FD Japan even a few years ago.
And totally different tracks, too.
Yeah, different style, you mean, of tracks.
Yeah.
And driving setup and everything.
For sure. Yeah, well, both things like style, driving style, and also tracks is definitely different here. Let's take a look at this here as Michael Essa gets a nice jump on the initiation. Masayama does follow him with the correct line there, trying to gain some proximity to get into that second outside zone. Masayama a bit tighter here on that inside clip, and you can see the angle that Essa had and the line allowed him to accelerate out of that inside clip. Not a snappy transition into outside zone, and comes up pretty good there, but doesn't get deep or consistent all the way through. He had just little moments there, but Masayama did have that mistake, and he wasn't able to gain proximity in that final outside zone. Let's take a look from the drone here. This is where Essa starts to try and gain a little bit of distance here. That transition back around, you can see he was right on the inside, and then he got deep, but Masayama was on a tighter line, so it may be nullified there, as they switch things up with Wataru Masayama going to the lead and Michael Essa chasing him down.
And this is where it gets interesting, Ryan, because Essa and Masayama have never competed against each other before, because Masayama's a rookie. So literally no track record in between these two drivers.
Yeah, indeed. It's you have to feel for Michael Essa in some way, because he spent so much time as a veteran getting used to other drivers and their driving style. In this case, he doesn't really have a lot to go off of. And in this position, this is the toughest, right? Because the guy's driving in front of him.
Exactly, getting that fresh air. Masayama on his maiden voyage, his first ever turn and burn in the Formula Drift Championship, and Michael Essa picking up some new sponsors this year, welcoming FCP Euro and Liqui-Moly on his BMW. He's been rocking Achilles for quite a few years, so great to see him back again. I always love seeing him behind the wheel of a BMW, and you have to think he's utilizing some information that Brudski was competing yesterday in Pro 2, so he's doing some knowledge share. As Masayama goes into the second outer zone, good angle. Michael Essa seems like he's kicking back a little bit. Might he surge right here? No, there you go. So Masayama absolutely running away with it. Michael Essa maybe kicking back a little too much. You saw a little correction there from Masayama, massaging in that outside zone, and Michael Essa just flicks on straight there as he crosses the finish line.
I have a feeling none of these battles are going to be gimmies.
No.
Here today. This course,
everybody's hungry.
Everybody's hungry, and this course has a tendency where the differences are very minimal unless somebody makes a big mistake. Here's Masayama, gets an initiation right by that last standing cone, deep into that first outside zone. Now swooping back around, Essa looking for an opportunity to attack here on this inside clip. Gets pretty close there. Masayama starts to pull a little bit, but Essa doesn't want to let him get away. Now the final transition, nice snappy by Masayama out front, and Michael Essa right there to tow up the rear end. Here it is coming in outside zone one once again. You can see the mimicking by Essa pretty solid there. Let's take a look at the comparative angle. Essa falls back a little bit. We see a lot of that the guys struggling with that third outside zone. And Masuyama was able to finish deep in the 4th outside zone, but Michael Essa was right there. Man, another tough call for the judges here, and they're really going to have to split hairs to find winners.
Slide him left for Essa, slide him right for Masuyama. And it looks like Chris Yule says Michael Essa, Ryan Lantain says Essa, and is it unanimous? Unfortunately for Wataru Masuyama, that's the end of his day one, because he has a whole new opportunity tomorrow, again, round 2. But Michael Essa will advance on. Congratulations to him, the FCP Euro, Liqui Achilles Tire BMW. So congratulations to him as Masuyama is knocked out. As Sopa waits to let him know. And our next pair are on the start line.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so okay, and as we are,
I know what's going on now.
what's cracking?
That what came over the radio here was that Adam LZ is calling a competition timeout.
Oh, okay. So Essa gets the win there. It is official. We can see Sopa. So yeah, Adam LZ is on the line to go against Chris Forsberg, the 3-time champion, and Adam LZ just called the competition timeout. So unfortunately, Forsberg gets iced a little bit there, but looks like now it's time for an Ngk competition timeout. Do spark plugs timeout? They sure do, and timely spark plug replacement not only prevents fouling and provides the best engine performance, it ensures less repair time and can save you money on unnecessary repairs. Visit ngksparkplugs.com to learn more about OE suggested spark plug intervals and find the best plug for your engines. Ngk, the ignition specialist. Again, the Ngk competition timeout being instituted, and you get one. So to be honest, Adam LZ in his pro round of competition pulls up against a 3-time champion. A lot of buzz about Adam LZ, and he goes against Chris Forsberg in his Pro 1 debut, and now he has to call competition. We are advancing on to our next battle, and this is another driver I'm really excited to see, and I think he's got a lot of talent here. Ken Gushi, but he's going against Alec Robbins from Becker, Minnesota, and he has quite a hot rod there, that Nissan 350Z. Ken Gushi, the debut. This is the first time we're seeing the brand new GR Supra in competition. The Greddy Performance, Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla, Toyota Supra, as I just mentioned. But excited to see how Ken Gushi throws down Achilles tires on the corners. And here we go, send it, fellas.
Big jump there.
Yeah, a little bit of a jump there from Robbins. It would seem like, yeah, he absolutely lurked forward there. And Gushi out front, Robbins transitioning now in the chase. Woo! Look at that. Robbins dropping the hammer. Ken Gushi fills that 3rd outside zone. Now coming into the 4th outside zone, you can see Robbins lunging forward. Man, seems like he has been training up in Minnesota and is absolutely hungry.
Yeah, Robbins probably smartly got that jump there. I hope that he did it the way that he wanted to. It looked like he did a pretty good job there. He kind of lurched off the line aggressively to give himself a decent run up to Ken Gushi. He's got some good grip in that vehicle. Let's take a look at it as we hone in here from the drone. And Gushi right there, you can see transitioning back around to this inside clip. And Robbins keeping the pressure on there, so no slouch here. Last year did some great work in Pro 2. Gushi ripping through that final outside zone, just right at the edge there, but Robbins not able to be shaken. Here it is from the onset. Early initiation by Gushi, right at the edge of the course there. Great job, but Robbins managing that smoke line, diving in right there, nearly making contact and rubbing that rear tire against Ken Gushi. He loses a little bit of angle there coming out of inside clip number 1, and then again a surging attack, has to drop back there. So very aggressive moves by Alec Robbins to surge forward. Does lose a little bit of angle, and there's that lurch that we talked about, Jared. It looks like he got the timing pretty decent though, and he didn't have that situation where the drivers lurched out, and look at that, you can see that tire rubbing there, that front right into Ken Gushi on that 1st outside zone. Robbins goes up on the coping and still manages to tuck in tight here. So Robbins looking good in his pro debut. A couple little mistakes in the chase, but they were all aggressive mistakes which is what we like to see.
Oh, for sure. Like I said, he's been training up there in Minnesota, and just wanted to clarify because I've seen a lot of Robbins over the years competing at different competitions, either be Pro-Am or Pro, and now you know, Robbins looks like he pulled over to the side. He picked up a new sponsor this year, a big title sponsor there for him. Had an opportunity to wrap out with him on High Octane, as judges did see contact. So I believe they're about to see who is at fault, and I think it happened. Oh, right there. Yeah, look at that. That definitely. Yeah. So Ryan, yeah, that definitely could have affected or will affect the performance of the vehicle. And you can see that back left right off the bat. You saw Robbins go in and punch that back left corner, and Ryan, that's where it gets interesting for Ngk. Go ahead.
Well, what's going on here is Robbins has a flat right front, and I think that's why they were showing us that shot, to see where that contact potentially occurred and if that was the cause of the flat right front from Robbins. It seems like it would be, because that's where we saw the contact come together, and so obviously the car pulled off to the side. Now, when this happens in competition like this, the judges are going to look at who was at fault here, and then that'll move us into the next steps. Looked like, I mean, to you, it looked like Ngk was accelerating forward. Seems like
everything looked on par, and like you said, all the mistakes that were made by Robbins were being aggressive. He knows he needs to step it up to a different caliber, so we'll reassess on what's going on there between Robbins. Regardless, he would need a new tire, and that contact looked like he was too aggressive. I don't think Ngk did anything to get in his way or impede in the flow of it all, so I believe that Robbins will have to take a competition timeout, and that's basically damage to the vehicle, get it repaired, and finish out the rest of the battle. So right now we move on back to Chris Forsberg and Adam LZ. So Forsberg, that 3-time champion. So we're still, again, assessing fault here, Ryan. So Ryan, just want to make sure, again, who's at fault.
Yeah, that's going to be the job of the judges here to assert that, and that will determine the next step. Are we running this?
And we are set up here. Chris Forsberg, Adam LZ. Look at this. Formula Drift rookie Adam LZ. A big YouTube star and sensation. His car collection is absolutely insane. Chris Forsberg's car collection is insane, but he's been drifting since day one. A veteran versus a rookie. Welcome to FD Pro, Adam LZ here. Great looking S15. Debuted the livery, debuted it all, and Chris Forsberg been piloting a Nissan since day one. He is running the VR engine under the hood as Adam LZ with the 2J under the hood of his S15. Here we go, Forsberg out front, Adam LZ in that chase position. Like I said, welcome to Pro Competition, Adam LZ. Here you go, Chris the Force Forsberg coming into that front clip. Brings it right around. Masterclass there, filling that third outside zone, transitions into that final outer zone. Adam LZ comes in a little later in that final outside zone number 4. Ryan, great way for Adam LZ. Hey man, here you go. Go against the 3-time champ.
Yeah, a tough draw for sure, but you know, LZ in the offseason has been doing a lot of drifting. Obviously we saw some really highlight moments from him last year. You can see Chris gets a great jump out of the gate. LZ starts to surge forward here though, trying to gain some proximity against the 3-time champ. Not too shabby from LZ as he wraps through this inside clip. Forsberg gets out of the shotgun there and blasts through outside zone number 3. Nice transition back around, and then finishes up strong here as LZ was able to compress and get a little bit closer. Now from that outside zone 1 into outside zone 2, we see LZ trying to take a slightly tighter line here to gain that proximity. Forsberg grips up, moves into outside zone 3, and LZ here will tighten it up towards the end using a tighter line, but it was a solid lead run by the three-time champion out front, Jared, and now they will switch things up.
Yeah, the NOS Energy Drink 370Z. Chris has been doing a lot of driving himself, and these guys making a lot of content. The Blackout Garage, him and Dylan Hughes creating a lot of content, and obviously Ryan Turk joining them as well. It looks like thumbs up from both the drivers. Now Adam LZ getting the fresh air. Great looking car. Both these and all of them great looking, but Adam just definitely has that J-way. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, initiate. Boom. Whoa, look at that roost. Absolutely. Gravel machine gun. Forsberg steers clear of that. That was absolutely off track, and that wasn't just a little toe dip. That was a cannonball into the dirt as Adam LZ with big angle in that outside zone. Chris Forsberg does mimic it there towards the end. Ryan, I want to watch this again, but watch this. I mean, it's a stucco gun coming off the back end of the S15. Fortunately, Forsberg stood clear of it, and don't know if that was by design or like, oh man, I'm not going where that dude's going.
Well, LZ gets a good jump here. It's a nice initiation.
Watch
Forsberg was trying to mimic the line, but I think he noticed that LZ was going to go off course there and kind of stayed back a little bit. So LZ way overshoots that outside zone 1. And, you know, you got to give him credit. He's going up against a three-time champ. He wants to get a good run out of the gate, get that speed that he needs to accelerate and move away from Forsberg. But Chris anticipated his moves. You can see he stayed kind of right on that right line that you want to have to attack. And LZ just pushed a little bit too hard. Forsberg transitions back around, keeping his distance a little bit. Now he's going to start to attack here, and he sees where LZ is lining up this last little section, drives through the smoke line, and then attacks on the inside. So really it was that first outside zone that kind of put it off the marker for LZ. He tried to recover and recovered pretty well, but obviously when you're looking at the two lead runs compared, that's going to be a big disadvantage. And obviously he's losing a lot of grip by going off course there. Yeah,
happy birthday to Matt Schulman. He's part of Adam LZ's team, AKA Sherman. Man, if there were any candles on that outside zone, Adam LZ blew out all the candles there for you, Sherman. As happy birthday to you, and from the Adam LZ crew, happy birthday, Schulman, AKA Sherman. Don't know if that's going to be enough for LZ to see more action in the top 16. Our judges have digested, and now they tell you what's going on here. Chris Ewell says Chris Forsberg. Ryan Lontaine says Chris Forsberg, and it looks like Chris Forsberg gets the win. The infamous words that everybody thinks I say all the time, but it's true. Chris Forsberg gets the win unanimously. He advances on into the top 16. He'll be going against Michael Essa. So as we are going back to the Jones and Literal one more time, which we never got an outcome from those drivers. So again, Forsberg will be going against Essa, and if you can recall, many moons ago, those two gentlemen went against each other for the championship back in the day. So we are going back to our first battle that we started things off with, Ryan, if you can remember, the one more time battle, and that really kicked things off to show you that, yeah, like you said, the mistakes are going to be so minimal, and that's where I do not envy the judges.
Yeah, we're not going to have a halftime. We're just going to go right into the top 16.
Yeah, just go for it. I mean, again, we don't have the quote-unquote open pits that we normally do, kind of the full access. Everybody's being respectful. So here we go. Ryan Literal, Jeff Jones. Literal will lead. Jones will give chase. 16 cylinders, both Nissan Zs, 1350, 1370. Literal. Jeff Jones comes out of the gate, swinging to the side of that Power Stop Brakes GT Radial 350Z of Ryan Literal, and Jeff Jones tucking in. He is possessed, man. He is absolutely going for it. Literal, a lot more fluid than his first run, allowing Jeff Jones to be confident as he drops and drops and rolls into it. Nice job by both the drivers, Ryan.
Well, remember, this was a real split decision last time around. Each driver getting a nod, and then the one more time. This time around, let's see what happens here. Literal out front once again, and Jones dives in again this time. He's on a little bit of a tighter line. I think last time he did it a slightly bit better, but he is keeping that proximity on. Very aggressive, hits that inside clip. Literal to the outside zone number 3. Rockets off that section of the course. Slightly lazy transition, and you can see he's kind of on and off throttle there through that section of the course, but Jeff Jones makes good adjustments. Here it is, Literal blasting through that first outside zone. Jones through the smoke line, hitting this inside clip here just coming up a little bit tighter, but he's keeping that proximity. Both drivers pretty even there, and then that was just a slightly little bit lazier transition to outside zone 4 for Literal, and Jones is able to take that to his advantage and kind of close the door a little bit, but overall it was a solid lead run for Ryan Literal.
Jeff Jones will lead, Ryan Literal will give chase. Oh man, look at this, Ryan. The plot thickens. Looks like we are getting another competition timeout. We got another competition timeout. Wonder if, again, the vehicle's running hot. I know that Literal did some test and tuning out in Colorado at Grid Life a couple of weeks ago, and don't know if he figured that out, but looks like he is in need of this competition timeout. You only get one, so you're gonna want to use it sparingly. Wonder what is cracking, what's going on. All right, could see his team jumping into action, what's going on. All right, so let's take a look. Again, timeout was called by Adam LZ earlier, so we'll take a little NGK competition timeout, Sparkplugs timeout, so go ahead and replace him. Yeah.
From making contact with Ken Gucci, and what the judges were looking at is who was at fault there. Now, from what I'm hearing, and we'll go back and look at the replay, it does sound like they actually gave Ken Gucci the fault because he was off throttle in a non-decel, or yeah, in a non-decel area. And here, let's take a look at it. Again, watch this here. So drivers are supposed to be throttling here, and they were saying that Ken Gucci was not on full throttle in an area where he should have been full throttle, and that's why Robbins hit him. So maybe if we can slow that down, guys, and take a look at that, and we'll bring up the decel map so people can kind of see exactly what's going on. But once they initiate, they need to be full throttle, and that's what the chase drivers are expecting. So actually it was a unanimous vote. All three judges gave fault to Ken Gucci for that contact that resulted in the popping of the tire. So here's another look at it. So it should be full throttle here. Gucci's off, he brakes a little bit, and then right there you can see he's not, the smoke line has not started, and he's pretty much almost outside of the zone. So that's the issue that the judges raised, and see there's the contact that caused the popping in the tire. Now if the tire didn't pop, it wouldn't make it really that much of a difference. It may have been a mistake on initiation from Gucci, but obviously it has consequences. So here we go, second half.
Yeah, here's the second half of this battle. Robbins will now lead. So you said, just to clarify, who got the 0 there? Ken Gucci got the basically
yes, the judges are treating it as a 0 because obviously Robbins could not fully attack with a popped front right, and so that is the ruling that they gave, that Gucci needed to be on throttle in that throttle area. He was not. That's what caused Robbins to make contact with him, and that's what popped the tire.
So Robbins with a major advantage here, and now he gets the clean air as he will be leading. Ken Gucci giving chase. Here they come out of the chute. Good start from Robbins. Can he take down an FD veteran, Ken Gucci? You see Robbins take out the second half. Man, he is collecting cones as we come through that first and only front clip. Robbins is absolutely tearing through this course, coming to that final outside zone. And keep in mind, the stripe portion of the track is the edge of the track. So Robbins actually, he put all his car off the track. So he actually technically had 2 tires off because we have the outside zone, and off track is still where the paved area is. That has been marked out with the yellow stripes in that section, and Alec Robbins got really deep into that, Ryan.
Well, Robbins would have known that he had a big advantage here, so he really just needed to lay down, a clean lead run. You can see Gucci was on that inside line. Gucci trying to make something out of this run and give some back, put some pressure on Robbins to force an incomplete, perhaps get a one more time. Robbins was a bit wild in his lead run here, and leaving it into the judge's hands, and he's going to go way off course, definitely 2 tires off there. Now the question is, did he incomplete on any parts of that run? I think that's the ultimate question, because if Gucci has an incomplete, it would take an incomplete to draw one more time.
Yeah, that's the scenario that I'm looking at, and very unfortunate for Ken Gucci right out of the gate. Built this brand new Toyota Supra in the offseason. I know he's been working day and night to get this car done there at Greddy Performance. And I know Robbins has as well. I mean, not taking away anything from any any of the vehicles or any of the teams and builds. Everybody's been working hard. So it's just a bummer that that scenario had to transpire in the top 32. But man, Robbins driving feverishly out of the gate, trying to prove himself. Hey, I am here and I'm here to stay. I'm a Formula Drift pro driver now, first year. Does he take down an FD veteran since day one, 04? Similar scenario of Forsberg and LZ. You got this 04 driver that's been in for all 17 seasons going against a brand new FD Pro rookie. So it's you know, Forsberg in the place of Gucci, Gucci in the place of Forsberg, and LZ, similar scenario to Alec Robbins.
Yeah, the only reason why we'd have a delay in judging here is because they're deliberating on Robbins' run. And, you know, they forced the hand there for an incomplete with Ken Gucci, which means that really the only way that there could be a one more time is if Alec Robbins incompleted as well, either by the accumulation of too many mistakes or one big one. Now,
right.
Did you see one big one in your mind?
I didn't. I mean, the 2 tires off, he hit some cones. It was sloppy. But I think nerves, he went the other direction as far as backpedaling. He went full on. He went 110%. So I don't think enough to offset that incomplete. I don't think that was an incomplete run, Robbins compared to Gucci.
So hearing over the comms, the judges want to take one more look at this. And this is going to be the second run, Jared. So that tells me that they're looking at Robbins and whether or not there's an accumulation of errors
he hits
here.
Cones. You'll see him absolutely blast this cone, and he blasts the second cone in the second outside zone. So transitions, he fills it, right? But then clink, he takes that one out. So
it's a question of like how far off course is he there right now? Almost goes into the wall, right? You know, we're looking for that either accumulation of errors, drops a tire there. You're right, it's sloppy for sure. And this is probably the biggest one, right? Because he's nearly 3 off, clearly 2 in that outside zone. And you can imagine, you know, if that was a wall, but, you know, that's the way that the course has been designed. So is there an incomplete there? I kind of going with you. I'm not seeing like a clear one, but I could see maybe the accumulation of error case. But nonetheless, you know, it's obviously unfortunate that we find ourselves in this position because the first part of the battle was pretty awesome, and you know, come to find out that Ken Gucci, according to the judges, was off throttle in a throttle area, causing that pop tire.
Another thing to consider here, Ryan, is
here's a love tap. So you can see big e-brake there after initiation. Gucci should be on throttle. We just start to see that smoke line. We don't see it, and then that's where the pop happens. So yeah, it was deep into that zone. Good catch by the judges there.
Another thing to consider right there, what I was talking about when Gucci was in the chase position, is Alec Robbins' lead run a chaseable run. If it's too wild and too flagrant,
if
it's not chaseable. I still don't think that's the case, but I'm just saying these are the things that the judges need to digest and really take into consideration. So it looks like Chris Yule says Alec Robbins, as does Ryan Lontaine, and Brian Eggert says Alec Robbins. So a Formula Drift rookie taking out an FD veteran, Alec Robbins, on his maiden voyage. Moves on to top 16. Alec Robbins from Minnesota is moving on. So, as I said, the weekend is not over for Ken Gucci. The day might be, round 1 might be, but tomorrow is an all-new fresh start for round 2. All right, well, we're up here high in the sky, and our girl on the ground, Lorette Nickel, wrapping out with the drivers. Lorette?
Standing next to Rome Charpentier, honestly, it is no small feat. You had a terrifying crash in New Mexico where your truck and trailer were absolutely destroyed due to uneven road surfaces. Rome, checking on your team, making sure everyone was all right. Your second question was, how are we going to get to FD?
Absolutely. So yeah, the road was a little, it pushed us over into the right lane. My wife was driving at the time, and then it crowned over, and when it crowned over, the trailer kind of stepped out to the right, and then the cones went back left up against the K-rail, so it basically initiated the trailer into kind of a manji. We manji down the freeway, hit the center median part of it, so like the K-rail, went right, the guardrail went through the door where I was sleeping, went completely through the truck, crammed the little like back seat I was on up to the roof, and then we just started flipping. And all I remember is like waking up, making sure my wife and my crew guy Carson, and like really good friend, was alive. And then I remember laying in fuel, so I realized I was in some kind of diesel fuel or something because I was all wet. just had to get out of there as fast as possible. And yeah, luckily there were some construction guys going on who were building and setting it up, and they were able to grab us out of the truck and get us out before anything too crazy happened. But it was it's the first time I've ever been in an actual car accident, which is weird because we are drifting. But it was definitely devastating to us. My wife is an amazing, amazing person for many, many reasons. But probably the thing that hit me the hardest was she kept saying that she was sorry for destroying my dream, because we worked together the last 5 years to kind of put it together, the whole program. I met her 5 years ago. We started drifting about 4 years ago, and that was the saddest part for me, was to see how sad she was about it. And like, we can always rebuild it. Like, the fact that we're alive and moving is beyond a miracle. We were very close to about 30 feet farther than that. We were going to go off of a gorge, like into a canal. So the likelihood that we stopped where we did and we were okay was just a miracle in itself.
It's a miracle, and we're so glad you're here. Our next battle is on track. Jared, Ryan, back to you guys.
Yeah, super stoked to see Rome out here. You know, I mean, everybody, including Ryan and I, obviously. So as we move on to our next battle, Travis Reeder. Excited to see him behind the wheel of Old Red and Rad Dan as business up front, party in the back. He's got the mulleted one, Rad Dan Burkett, as Travis Reeder will lead. He pulled the 13, number 13, and Dan Burkett pulled the number 20. They already took their sight lap, so they're ready to send it. Here we go, fellas, as Travis Reeder now in that GT Radial team, Dan Burkett in that Gear Wrench Rad Industries Toyota Supra, and Rad Dan making a large name for himself, creating a lot of YouTube content. Here we go. Travis Reeder right out of the gate. Let's see how they handle this, transitioning into that first outer zone. Oh my goodness, Reeder going off course, spins in Old Red, and that means Dan Burkett will have the automatic advantage here. That will be an incomplete for Reeder, because as a lead car, you know, the chase car, peace, there you go. But we'll definitely, wow, look at the grass. I mean, he took a massive divot out of that grass and threw it over to the other side of the track. So we will get that cleaned up here. Ryan, delay after delay. Like you said, I don't know if we're going to have a halftime here with all of the competition timeouts, the incidents, and what seems to be a very unassuming track out of the gate is proving to be fairly difficult.
Well, let's take a look and see technically what happened here. We see the first tire drop right here, and then the second one gets in there as well. And once that happens, he's pretty much gone. The front two wheels are not going to hold any traction. He goes way off course. Now, you brought up a good point. When we see a chase driver incomplete, the lead driver still needs to finish the run. However, in this case, the lead driver incompleted, and for safety purposes, the chase driver does not need to finish the run. Rad Dan did the right thing. He kind of moved out of the way, but if he, by chance, happened to incomplete somewhere down on the track, it wouldn't be held against him, because Reeder incompleted first as the lead driver. But unfortunately for Reeder, a tough break there right at initiation, getting into that outside zone. And you can tell, Jared, just how tricky this course can be in terms of the millimeters that it takes, or inches that it takes, to make the car go in places that you do not want it to go.
Now Rad Dan pulls up to the line. Looks like Reeder is ready to go. And man, that was a quick little cleanup. Attaboy. Way to go, crew here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Well done. Round of applause from the judges even. And Rad Dan ready to send it with that clean air out front. Travis Reeder might have some grass in his teeth, but no big deal. That'll buff out. Here we go. Rad Dan Burkett through the start chicane. We got a clean start. No cones were hit in the making of this start line. Here we go. Yeah, now Reeder making up for it. Transitioning back. Oh wow, look at this. Into that front clip. Rad Dan out to that third outside zone, transitioning into that final outside zone. Rad Dan.
Oh no!
Oh man! Reeder might have actually helped him there. It kind of nurtured him.
Rad Dan looked like he was nearly maxing out the angle and close to spinning, but it looks like he held it through the finish line. Let's take a look at this again. That got scary for Rad Dan towards the end. And taking a look from up top, Dan, nice little initiation there. He pulls out of that zone early. Reeder makes a good adjustment there to keep the proximity on. Now, he is trying to push Rad Dan Burkett to make a mistake here, keeping the pressure on with that sound and the fury behind him. Now let's watch this last section. Reeder's gonna come up on the inside. You can see he's having a tough time with the vehicle. Big angle from Burkett. Does he get through the finish line with angle? Just barely.
But watch Reeder too on that outside zone. It looked like he came in hard and just tried to back it in, and he almost straightened out. It's almost like they helped each other.
Well, Reeder in the chase is obviously throwing everything at the wall that he can to get Dan to make a mistake. And whether or not this was an independent mistake or, you know, that Burkett could just hear Reeder breathing down his neck. There's big angle here from Dan. Yeah, you can see in it right there some mistakes in the chase as well. It looks like Dan was able to hold angle there through the finish line. We'll take this last final look here, but the get-go, Dan did not really have a great line on that first outside zone, and Reeder was really using that to his advantage, finding ways to tuck that nose in, keep proximity there. You can see the front bumper is kind of starting to fall off, and maybe it's rubbing on that left front as well. And then here's the scariest part of the run. Reeder really loses angle, unwinds it a lot, and then Dan nearly spins out, but it looks like he's going to get out of this unscathed.
Yeah, you saw Rad Dan's back wheel actually stop rotating. I think he grabbed way too much handbrake than he wanted to, and Reeder seemed that he was driving like he threw a brick on it. He seemed like he was driving passionately, meaning he was a little angry there, maybe at himself after that first run there. So we are waiting for the judge's verdict to come in. Slide him left for Reeder, right for Dan Burkett. And it looks like Dan Burkett will get the victory, especially after that major mistake by Reeder. So unfortunately for Old Red and Travis Reeder, his day is done, but he will go on to see competition tomorrow. Rad Dan Burkett gets the victory and gets the win with that gear wrench. Rad Industries Toyota Supra. Congratulations to you, Dan Burkett. Moving on. All right, so we throw it down to Lorette Nickel, who is with a top 16 competitor, Mr. Robbins.
Alec Robbins comes storming into his rookie battle, takes that win against Ken Gucci, all while chasing some problems with the car.
Yes.
What are you experiencing?
We've been battling a bunch of issues all weekend. The car is just randomly shutting off on us. I think we've got some fuel delivery issues. So yeah, yesterday in practice, or it'd be Thursday in practice, and today in practice, we only got a couple of runs in. And so it's been super frustrating, and we're just super glad to get that out of the way. And it feels so good to finally get some good runs in, and yeah, to beat Gucci is it's just icing on the cake on there. So
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Lorette. Congratulations, Mr. Robbins. Shout out to Parker Jet, Jason, Nicole watching at home as Jeff Jones now pulls to the start line. And I do not see Ryan Literal. So Ryan Literal, a no-show. So Ryan Literal suffers a mechanical failure, so a DNS on this second half. Ryan, very unfortunate after the one more time battle.
Yeah, we did hear a report coming over the race control communications that Literal was having all kinds of issues with the vehicle, water flowing from it, spewing everywhere, and it looks like the tech team actually pulled it off for safety because of the problems that it was having, and so he will not be able to resolve this second half of the battle, and that'll mean Jeff Jones moves on to the top 16.
All right, so already in, Taguchi will be going. Taguchi had that bye run, so Kazuya Taguchi and Jeff Jones will be seeing battle in top 16. Michael S. and Chris Forsberg. Alec Robbins, who Lorette just spoke to, is going against Dan Burkett, and we're not even halfway through our top 32. And next up, these two gentlemen, two Ford Mustangs. We have another FD veteran going against a rookie. I love how this is shaping up, Ryan. This is really interesting, and we saw that it can be done. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with top 32 action here at Worldwide Technology Raceway for round one. FD veteran Vaughn Gittin Jr., a former champ, going against Jonathan Nairn, and you know, jokingly, we called him Vaughn Gittin Jr. back in the day. Jonathan Nairn, he was part. I was just talking with Brian Eggert. We've seen Nairn grow up before our eyes in Pro-Am, and then obviously he earned his license through U.S. Drift, and here he is. Two Mustangs. Jonathan Nairn was part of an old TV show and an online thing called Octane Academy. So just all of this history, right? So veteran, rookie, Mustangs, All-American. Here we go. Vaughn Gittin Jr. will lead. Jonathan Nairn will give chase. This should be an exciting one to watch as Vaughn Gittin Jr., that Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR. Here we go, coming into that first outside zone. There goes Vaughn Gittin Jr. now transitioning in that second outside zone. Naren taking out that cone on that second outside zone, taking out the front clip. Goes Naren, and now into that final outside zone. Vaughn Gittin Jr. just riding the edge, absolutely on the razor's edge, Ryan. Well executed by Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Jonathan Naren. I would say he's front row. He's about third row because he's a few car lengths back. And
it's worth noting that Naren's only practice was this morning. Did not make it to Thursday practice. Right. Had some trouble getting here, so he is fresh. And let's see how he does against Vaughn Gittin Jr. Massive jump by Vaughn. He's able to fill that outside zone extremely well. Transitions right there on that second outside zone. Naren overshoots it, and Vaughn will start to pull ahead here as he leaves outside zone 3. Naren has to cut the line. You can see he has a really tough time on that transition to the final outside zone. Naren in the chase position, that is. Now as we take a look from above, we'll get a good look at outside zone 2. Vaughn keeping that smoke line and making that adjustment, really accelerating. You can see how quickly the Mustangs plume up smoke. This is where Naren has a tough time on this final transition, but Vaughn is so far out ahead at this point. Not sure how much of a difference it will make. Now you have to think about Vaughn in this position here. Looked like Naren had a little bit less grip, a little bit less speed. What's going to be his strategy in trying to chase him down? These ones always tend to get a little bit tricky here if you don't get it right.
Yeah, they get hairy, and they've driven against, not against, but with each other at events like Hyperfest and things like that. So excited to see Naren out here making his FD Pro debut. Like I said, he earned his license through the U.S. Drift program, and here we go to that first outside zone. There goes Naren. Here comes Vaughn Gittin Jr. Now, like you said, Ryan, how does he approach this? First time in pro competition. How is Naren going to handle it? Right now, he's looking great out front. Jonathan Naren looks like Vaughn Gittin Jr., and Naren doesn't get all the way into that outside zone, and that's what I was talking about, Vaughn Gittin Jr. maybe pedaling back just a little bit, and I think that worked out for him, but great job by Naren out front on his FD Pro debut.
Yeah, strategically, I think that was well played by Vaughn. As you said, a good lead run there by Naren. Vaughn kind of gave him enough room to adjust if there was any mistakes, but still keeping the pressure on in places. Really closes them there on initiation. Naren getting through that outside zone. Vaughn trying to stay out of the smoke line, but keep his proximity close to Naren coming through that inside clip. Vaughn with a little bit less angle there, but Naren nearly goes off course. Vaughn now keeping the pressure on, angling up, transitioning back around. And this is where Naren kind of pulled a little bit of a gap here towards the end. Vaughn sees it and gets right on it and tries to close the door there just past the finish line. Here it is from above. You can see both guys pretty close to each other on initiation. Vaughn just going up on the rumble strips for a second as Naren is back on the throttle just past that inside clip and then hitting that outside zone area. Vaughn, good transition there as he's trying to avoid any potential mistakes that might have been made, but Naren looking strong out front, and you gotta say, man, great showing for him without having 5 hours of practice like everybody else.
No, definitely. So shout out to Jonathan Naren and CJ Pony Parts and that Shelby American Super Snake Nexen tires. Slide them left for Vaughn Gittin Jr. or right for Jonathan Naren. And like you said, minimal practice, maybe that could have contributed to it, but Vaughn Gittin Jr. will get the victory, and Jonathan Naren, will see him tomorrow in competition, rounding out that two-car Shelby team. We will be seeing his teammate Tyler Nelson later on in competition, the second to last battle in another Shelby Super Snake Drift vehicle. But Vaughn Gittin Jr. gets the win and advances on to top 16. All right, so as we take a look at Ryan, we talked about this track and being fairly, it looks unassuming, but then it's definitely a threat. That's a variable that doesn't change. Well, I guess it can change because you got some oil on track. And another debut of a brand new Toyota Supra, that Rockstar energy drink, Toyota Racing Toyota GR Supra.
Yeah, the debut that everybody's been talking about. We've seen the practice runs obviously here, but for fans watching online, this will be the first time they get a real glimpse, especially in competition. And Joao coming over here, making it in from Brazil, which is quite a feat within itself. I know that talking to CBP to help him get in and coordinate the whole project of coming in here from out of the country. So That's passion for you, man.
Yeah, no, he's excited. I was actually, to be quite honest, I just went to the restroom and saw his spotter up in the bathroom when we were talking. I said, "What's going on? What's going on with your ride?" He says, "Everything's changed. Got a Pro Charger, lightened up, about 1,050 horsepower. He's, you could see the sheriff is back in town. He calls himself the sheriff. He's got. I saw photos of it before I even got out here. I think Larry Chen put him up, but he had like bullets in his door card or something like that. I don't know. He's got 357. He's really shooting for it, literally. Here we go as Frederick Osbo and Joao Berillon. We saw Joao in the hyperdrive hosted by a homeboy Rutledge Wood. Shout out to Rut. What's going on, homeboy? Sent some sweet messages the other day, so shout out to you. Here we go. Frederick Osbo, Toyota Racing. That Toyota Supra going against the Corvette of Joao Berillon as well into that first outside zone. Now the second outside zone. Good angle from Freddie, the Norwegian Hammer against the Sheriff. Sounds like a comic book tale here. We'll see who comes out on top. Frederick Osbo into that outside zone. Joao, you can see a little hiccups here and there, working it to the side of that brand new Toyota Supra.
No slouch there from Joao in the chase position. And let's take a look at Osbo's initiation. He took a little bit of a different approach, kind of swings to the outside and then snaps it back around, but then notice he's immediately back on throttle and pushing through that outside zone. Joao adjusts pretty well, lost a little bit of angle there in outside zone 2, but keeps the proximity through inside clip number 1. Osbo on throttle as well as Joao through outside zone 3. And Osbo, look at this, going off course in that last outside zone. Luckily, Joao did not follow him out there all the way, but made a couple mistakes on that final approach as well. Let's look at it again from above. They leave out inside clip number 1. Osbo into outside zone 3. Here comes Joao, trying to keep it competitive. And here you can see Osbo overshoots out a little bit, but Joao was on a bit of a tighter line there. So both drivers having some mistakes in their lead and chase on that final section. And Jared, I'm sure we're going to be talking about that final section a lot because it just tends to be an area where a lot of collisions happen, contact happens, drivers going off course. There's always something going on in that final turn. Yeah, that 3-liter 6-cylinder setup there from the Toyota power plant of the Supra, both him and Gucci running it, but different kind of setups. Papadakis, just absolutely a scientist when it comes to finding that horsepower, finding the secret number. I mean, running 4-cylinder turbo in the Toyota Corolla as well as Castro, and yeah, it's always great to see that. But super stoked to see Joao back out here in FD, and like you said, Ryan, making the jump from Brazil out here. So here we go. Joao out front, Frederick Osbo in that chase position. Clean start from both the drivers. Joao, nasty flick into that first outside zone. Supra of Frederick Osbo into that front clip, takes it out. Oh, a big correction and straightening there by Joao. Now into that final outside zone. Goes a Brazilian driver out front. Ryan, I want to look at that again. It looked like it was just out of camera shot. And Joao, I even heard you making an exclamation there. Yeah, and I was actually, that was for both. There was a bit of a mistake there for Osbo at the end. Not the cleanest that we've seen from the runner-up last year, but he keeps the pressure on early against Joao. Joao having a little bit of a tough time on that transition to outside zone 2. And then right here, it looks like he's going to start going off throttle. See, the smoke line is not there, shuts it down. You will typically see the smoke line start back up right as they pass through that final inside clip. So something going on with Joao there. Osbo may have tempered his approach after that, and if it wasn't incomplete, he knew that he was going to be okay. Here it is one more time from the drone. As they leave outside zone 2, Joao, you can see no smoke line, and we would expect that right about there, but then there should be a smoke line coming up at this portion. And you have to think that Osbo was anticipating that there was going to be potentially a problem that he may have to deal with if Joao was going to shut it down there, and not wanting to have a collision or contact and damage the vehicle.
And there is that brand new Toyota Supra. Oh, look at that. Lean Customs dropping their pin collection. So stoked on that. Actually featuring Frederick Osbo's vehicle, the FD Lean Customs pin set. And there it is. Frederick Osbo gets the win and gets the pin as Joao Berillon gets knocked out. Freddie, the Norwegian Hammer Osbo, gets the victory with the debut of the brand new Rockstar energy drink. Toyota Racing, Toyota Supra. Also, he is on Nitto tires. this year for the 2020 season. So congratulations to Freddie and his team. They are advancing on to top 16, and this should be a good one, Ryan. We got last year's runner-up overall in the championship, the highest finishing driver in the paddock, in the pit, going against Vaughn Gittin Jr. in the 16. So that should be a fun one. Two champions going against each other. As next up, we're going to see a bye run from the Beast from the Bay, Matt Field. So we will send him down the pipe. Here we go. So Drift Cave owner, operator, that of Mr. Matt Field. Coming out hot. Here we go. Matt Field, Falcon tires, Corvette, the Vortex supercharged setup.
Little dance with the dirt there.
Yeah, man. I know he's an eager beaver, man. Seeing him doing his handstand push-ups, drinking all his shakes. His sister got his meal plan. He's dialed. Not only the engine under the hood, but the engine running through his body.
He's got some mechanical power and some massive physical power this year as well.
I know you're all about that. You're pretty pumped. Wait, Ryan, put the weights down, okay? Seriously, put the shake weight down. You don't need to work out at all times.
Okay.
Okay, just relax. It's okay. You look great. All right, all joking aside, congratulations. Matt Field will advance on. He's going against the winner of our next battle, which should be really fun. Excited to see both these drivers. Jonathan Castro always has a smile on his face. Just welcomed a new member of his family as Dylan Hughes. Dylan Hughes, Jonathan Castro. When we come back, we're more than halfway through, baby, because we got Matt Field with that bye run. And next up, that will officially put us into the second half. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll see Castro from Dominican Republic taking on Dylan Hughes and his brand new Royal Purple BMW. Castro on the start line. Dylan Hughes and his brand new Royal Purple BMW. He's got the 2J under the hood. And there you go. You can see the stats there. 37, 28 years old. Santo Domingo. Dylan Hughes from the PNW, Pacific Northwest. Fairly equal horsepower there. Let's see how we throw down. Jonathan Castro behind the wheel of the Toyota, racing Toyota 86, Jardot Metal Dome. And you can see the Achilles tire on the corners of Dylan Hughes' vehicle. The O'Reilly Auto Parts on the hood. Part of that blackout team, him and Forsberg having some fun there in Southern California. Castro throws it in that first outside zone, getting really deep. Dylan Hughes kind of playing it safe there, middle of the road. Now how they handle here on that front clip. Castro takes out the one and only front clip into the third outside zone. Castro absolutely ripped. Oh, buddy! Woo! That could have been a lot worse. Castro spinning. And looks like pulls off of the vehicle. Looks like the back right corner of Hughes, but want to see how bad the damage is on that back left. Make some noise for him, as looks like hopefully it's just aesthetic. You can see that back left fender flare coming off. Ryan, that could have been a lot worse. And I wonder what happened with Castro.
I think it was the wall. At first glance, I'm pretty sure that he made contact with the wall, and that may have thrown him for a loop there, but we will definitely take a look at that again. You're right, the contact with Castro and Hughes looks more just body parts and not mechanical, but at the same time too, you just never really know. Let's take a look, see if we can determine what exactly happened there with Castro that caused him to go into that spin. Looked like he got pretty close to the wall, and that may have just unsettled the vehicle enough for him not to be able to pull through that final outside zone.
I beg to differ. I don't think he did hit the wall. I mean, on my first glance at calling it. Oh, you know what? I think you might be right. Yeah, you see that back right bumper. You may be right, dog. All right. Hey, look, I'll admit it. I might be wrong, Ryan. It's okay. I am man enough to say I was wrong.
Well, let's take a look, Jared, and we'll do what they call verification.
There we go. Let's go ahead and get that blue check mark on your Instagram account, bro.
So as Castro is swinging through.
No, dude, he did not hit.
Boom, you just owned me hard.
Oh, owned.
That was from practice, probably.
Owned.
Yep, so you're right. Just a spin there, Castro away from the wall. Unfortunately, just an unforced error there from Castro on the last section of the course. And that's going to be a tough break for him. Hughes able to avoid major collision there and damage to the vehicle, but obviously a few body parts falling off. And this is where we see the spin inducing. Just too quick of a transition there for Castro into that last outside zone.
Man, bummer for Castro. Yeah, just a separate incident, did not hit the wall and just spun it. Such a bummer for Castro. Dylan Hughes will have the advantage. I believe that they're inspecting the car. You can see Kevin Wells, technical director, seeing what's cracking down there. Not just bumpers, making sure everybody's okay. Triple checking everything. Nutted and bolted. Big Keeve, yeah, legendary.
There's the thumbs up. It looks like we're underway here, and you're right, Jared. Just cosmetic damage.
Wait, what was that again? You said what? Jared, you're right? And there it is, the top 16 graphic. Who's already moved on? You can see Taguchi versus Jones, Essa versus Forsberg, Robbins, Burkett, Gittin and Osbo, and Matt Field waits to find out who's he going to go against. As it's going to be one of these two gentlemen. Right now, Hughes with a major advantage here. Can he make it in top 16? Castro, he needs to put down a solid chase run. Dylan Hughes feeling the flow. He did the skills battle. He's been doing a lot of driving. Castro, again, father ×2 now, so don't know how much I've been seeing him doing a lot of driving, but not in this exact vehicle. Here we go. Hughes initiates that first outer zone. Nice and fluid from both the drivers. Hughes transitions in that second outer zone. Castro diving in on the inside. Hughes, oh wow, Castro center punching that front flip into that third outside zone. Now transitioning into the final outside zone. All signs are saying that it's gonna be Dylan Hughes, but look at Castro right now. Woo, very exciting run on the second portion for Castro like that. Again, probably one of the most exciting runs of all time. I know, again, I still get chills thinking about it. Castro in Florida, but don't think that was enough, unfortunately, for the Jordo Metal Dome Toyota Racing Toyota 86. I think Dylan Hughes is going to get the win, unfortunately, due to Castro's mistake on that first run, Ryan.
Well, it definitely did have some Orlando flair there, Jared, but towards the end, and with that big mistake, Dylan Hughes looks like he's going to be moving on into the top 16. You can see the aggression from Jonathan Castro, center punching that inside clip, trying to gain as much of an advantage as he can over Hughes in his chase run. But right there, as he squeaks up and really pushes the pressure against Hughes, it's going to be too little too late. Let's go to the judges for the official result. All right, going to the judges, slide him left for Castro, right for Hughes. And there it is. Dylan Hughes, the dozer, gets the win and moves on. His dad, his spotter, so Mr. Hughes, the mom, even Dayton, do a backflip, bro, for your bro. As the Hughes family celebrating and the Royal Purple fam advancing on to top 16. Guess what? You're going against Field in the top 16. Congratulations, Mr. Hughes. Ryan, we move on to another Formula Drift rookie. Excited about this one. Yves Meyer, who is actually from Switzerland. Yves Meyer warming up his tires. He's going to be going against Chelsea Denofa. Ryan, pop quiz, hot shot. Here we go. The Air Force Aim High Trivia. Jason, what do you got here? As I know my brother loves pop quizzes. So go ahead, go to the YouTube. In the description down below, you will see the Air Force Aim High Trivia. Click it and potentially win. What is the wingspan of an F-16? Ryan, did you write this one as well? I didn't really write it, but I know the answer because I put it in the form.
Copy that. So Ryan has the inside, got it.
So I'm not eligible.
You're not eligible. So what is the wingspan of an F-16? 33 feet, 30 feet, 38 feet, 44 feet. Brian Egger, I know you love planes. You love bombers and all that. Brian, do you know the answer there? You don't. You don't. Okay. Okay, Eggert's saying 38. So if Brian had YouTube in front of him, he was watching, he's got to focus on judging. Go in the description, click the link, and see if you win. You got a little bit of time here. These gentlemen are doing their site laps. Chelsea Denofa, a lot of driving. Denofa and Git and the RTR team have been very busy. If you haven't seen it, really cool video. I really liked what they did with Type S. If you haven't seen the Type S video, but really excited about the Formula Drift rookie, Yves Meyer from Switzerland. Is that? He's getting swifty, is that what he is? 28 years old, a former pro snowboarder. He just started drifting, Ryan, in 2017. He's been doing some FIA drifting. He's been doing some other events like Drift Games, and here he is now, FD rookie. You can see the disparity of horsepower there, 1100 versus 730. Mustang, Chelsea Denofa, 31, originally from Philly, now living in the Pacific Northwest. Ryan, I mean, Yves Meyer's really got to bring it. Before I got here on Thursday, I know Chelsea Denofa, he says, man, I'm out there. Like, he is just pushing hard. Not everybody else is pushing as hard as I am. He got into a tussle with a few different cars, and I think that's just basically kind of acknowledging that he has been doing a lot of driving and very aggressive.
Well, we also don't know exactly, as Yves is now kind of pulling off the line here. Oh, he is calling a competition timeout, Jared. So remember, going back to the end of practice, we saw that oil down. That came from Yves, we discovered. And so we don't know exactly what's going on with the vehicle or what's going on with him psychologically from what's been transpiring with the vehicle. It was enough for him to go up to the line, but now maybe he feels less confident about the vehicle and is taking that competition timeout.
So we are hearing, yeah, so Yves Meyer here, the NGK Spark Plugs competition timeout. As when we come back, we will be seeing Yves Meyer and Chelsea Denofa. We talked about Yves spilling some oil on the track, but real quick, NGK competition timeout. Do spark plugs timeout? Of course they do. So spark plug replacement not only prevents fouling, it provides the best engine performance. It ensures less repair time, can save you money on unnecessary repairs. You can see him getting jacked up there. Visit ngksparkplugs.com to learn more about OE suggested spark plug intervals and find the best plug for your engines. NGK, the ignition specialist. Ryan, we're seeing a lot of NGK competition timeouts here. So, man, how's that going to play out for the rest of the competition? When we find out, dialing in that S14. Excited to see how he throws down that SGK Performance S14. He is on some Nexen tires. Let's see what Farouk's got here. Ryan Turk will lead, and right before this, well, we had that break, I was talking with the judge, Brian Egger, and he was saying that Farouk's gone against Turk and Ozma more than anybody else. And so here we go. Ryan Turk will lead. Farouk can jump the light. So if you weren't watching yesterday, we do allow the chase driver to jump in order to time that start. Here we go. Ryan Turk in that first outside zone into the second outside zone, transitioning that brand new Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. Ryan Turk, boom, right there on that first front inside clip, the first and only. Now in that final outside zone, dialing it in. Looks like he hits it and quits it, does not stay all the way in that final outside zone, but he does get out there, Ryan. Want to see the different angles. What do you say? What do you think, Turk and Farouk?
Well, I certainly agree with the sentiment coming from the team owner, Stefan Papadakis, said there's a lot of pressure on Ryan Turk to perform in that championship caliber vehicle that Frederick Oswald drove last year. And you can see Turk seems to be acclimating pretty well to it here. That first and second outside zone were done very smoothly, aggressively. Great smoke line developing, showing that he's committed to that third outside zone. Farouk trying to play catch up here. I like that move to try to dive in on the inside, gain some proximity. Looks like a lot more grip there with Ryan Turk out front. And you can see Farouk was playing with a bit of a disadvantage from the get-go. Didn't get the jump that he wanted. You see that compression there on inside clip number one. But then Turk lays down the throttle and is able to extend out a bit further. And this is where we see Farouk last little ditch effort to try to gain some proximity there towards the end. And now this is his opportunity to give a great lead run for Ryan Turk to follow. Try to swing the scale back in his direction.
All right, Farouk will lead. Ryan Turk giving chase. Now, Ryan Turk, this is his first competition with this vehicle. He has a takedown demo vehicle that has been driving, which is the Toyota Corolla hatchback, but first actual comp setup. Here we go, Farouk in that first outside zone. Let's see how he handles the second. Gets right into it, noses in, then pulls out. Now into that front flip. Farouk takes it out once again. Man, that cone is getting abused. The third outside zone. Here comes Farouk diving in. Looks like he puts that back right corner in. Very similar, actually, lines. Farouk on the lead and Ryan Turk, but just in that outside zone, the fourth outside zone. But getting a full pull from both these guys, Farouk Kawai and Ryan Turk.
Taking a look at it again here on the Air Force replay. Turk, you can see he kind of slow rolled it out, then he tucked right behind. Now he's starting to get on. He wants to dive in here. Farouk pulls out of that first outside zone a bit early. Second outside zone, he was on the inside as well. Turk, good proximity here through that inside clip, and you can see the cone getting removed by Farouk. Farouk, pretty aggressive out front, sweeping right up against that wall, doing a great job, but just coming up a little bit early on that outside zone. But remember, going back to Ryan Turk's lead run, it was near flawless. A solid lead run would have been a good qualifying score, and he's also aggressive here in the chase. So it looks like the direction is going to be going in the favor of Ryan Turk here in the top 32 against Farouk Kawai.
Yeah, that got a little hairy there in that fourth outside zone, but slide him left for Turk, slide him right for Farouk. Now, as we see, Chris Yule, as does Ryan Lontaine. Ryan Turk gets the win. Ryan Turk advances in that Gumout Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. So with his first runs in the books of that brand new vehicle, as well as Farouk, Ryan Turk will advance on. And Farouk, we're gonna see him tomorrow as Ryan Turk advances on top 16, and he will be going against the winner of Denofa or Yves Meyer. And Ryan was talking about Yves calling that competition timeout, and his exhaust was just hanging down. So unfortunately, I think maybe when they were buttoning things up, somebody maybe forgot a bolt, and his exhaust was dragging.
Yeah, and unfortunate to actually use a competition timeout for that. And it was probably forced on him, if I had to guess, for safety purposes, especially if Denofa in the chase position is having to deal with that potentially coming off. So we've got Chelsea Denofa and Yves Meyer going back up because Yves had that competition timeout, had to pull off the line. So we'll see Chelsea Denofa go up and take the lead position here. Meyer will chase him down with what looks to be a complete vehicle now. Originally, we thought maybe there were some issues because of the oil down that was caused by his vehicle, but it looks like it's all buttoned up now. We can make it happen.
Chelsea Denofa will lead the gold nose. Let's see how he handles it. The BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. Chelsea Denofa, like I said, getting really aggressive on Thursday. He is out for blood, man. But Yves Meyer, again, a rookie, has only been drifting since 2017. Here we go, Chelsea Denofa into that first outside zone. Hammers down, transitions into the second outside zone. Into that front clip goes Chelsea and Meyer in tow. Separation being created between Denofa and Meyer. Into that final outside zone, you see Chelsea Denofa bring it in. He definitely got into the zone, but how long he stayed in there is the question. I was looking with my naked eye down, and it just cuts off about halfway through, so definitely want to take a look at this replay. Yves, no slouch there at all, definitely hanging with the big boys. Again, another veteran versus rookie situation. Chelsea hasn't been around since '04, but not too soon after.
Denofa, known to be a very aggressive driver, does a pretty good job with big angle leaving that first outside zone. Yves, good job navigating through that smoke, but comes up short on that second outside zone. Denofa now really putting the throttle down, causing some separation here from Meyer. Meyer, a little bit of a lazy transition to get to that final outside zone to try to chase down Denofa. Here it is from above. We can see some of the movement from the vehicle, give you an idea whether or not that Yves is trying to mirror the transitions and stay on the line that Denofa is putting down as the lead driver. That's where you can see that point of difference there as we take a look at both runs. And Denofa, pretty decent job in that outside zone, but like to see him get a little bit deeper there, and you can see how those lines end up getting taken down by the tires over time. And of course, Jared, we've seen at least one incident yesterday in Pro 2 where there was an incomplete by going all 3 or 4 off last night.
Well, we saw Reeder too, right? Earlier, just really go for the gusto. Here we go, Yves Meyer. He is now out front in the Latesso Achilles tire. Got that HGK body kit, the Eurofighter. A lot of them being debuted here this weekend as Yves brings it all the way back to that front clip. Third zone, Chelsea Denofa, that gold nose in the rear view mirror of Meyer. Well executed by Meyer, man. To be quite honest, I think Chelsea got definitely served up as far as getting more than what he expected.
Yeah, Yves is no slouch here, and he's definitely bringing the fight. He gets a good jump. Denofa does not stick with him, does not give him proximity that you'd like to see as a chase driver. Yves doing a good job here, swinging into that inside clip, now pushing out. Now Denofa's starting to chase him down, and that's an area where we tend to see some separation. But it looks like on the transition, he pushed a little bit too hard, had to make a braking adjustment, and then fell back for a tiny bit through the finish line. So this final section, outside zone 3, Denofa's close. You can see that transition, he had to pull out of it for a second, and that caused Yves to pull a slight gap towards the end of outside zone 4.
That's why I don't think Chelsea expected that towards the latter portion of that second run. All right, the drift force again. Yves Meyer, welcome to FD Pro Competition. Rolling out the gold carpet here, Chelsea Denofa. See who comes out on top. Still deliberating our judges, Chris Yule, Brian Eggert, Ryan Lontaine. Hashtag FDSTL, taking a look at it again. Here is Yves Meyer in that lead position, Ryan.
And you can see Denofa, big angle there, but didn't get the jump that we've seen from some of the other drivers, really putting the proximity on the lead from the get-go. And as Yves comes out of inside clip 1, right out to the edge of the course, this is where we see Denofa tighten up. But then right there, it looks like he makes a tiny bit of a mistake on the transition back around, and Yves was able to maintain grip. Had a bit of a disparity between the proximity there, and then Denofa gets close a little bit towards the end, but definitely not door to door.
Still waiting, so some serious deliberation going on. So Chris Yule, Ryan Lantain, Brian Eggert, that's how they stage up when you slide them left or right. Chris on top, Lantain in the middle. So we got a Canadian sandwich here. I don't know if they have those at Tim Hortons or not. The scores are in. Slide them left for Denofa or right for Meyer. It looks like Chris Yule says Denofa. Ryan Lantain says one more time. And Brian Eggert says Chelsea Denofa. So Denofa does come out on top. Brian Eggert, I'm going to lean on you, your Canadian counterpart there, saying one more time. But you and Chris saying going with Chelsea Denofa. All right, here's a look at top 16. We'll get up with Brian Eggert here in just a moment. As here is how the 16 is shaping up. You could see again, looks a little different than what we've had in years past. It kind of goes left to right, then bottom left to right. So Chelsea Denofa will be going against Ryan Turk, Matt Field versus Dylan Hughes, and you can see the top brackets there. Chris Forsberg versus Michael Essa, Jones Taguchi, Robbins Burkett, Von Gittin Jr., Frederick Osbo. All right, so back to you, Brian Eggert. Again, 2-1.
Denofa, I just think he had a slightly better lead. For Ryan, he said he almost went Denofa, but chose to do one more time just because he thought Denofa was playing it a little bit too safe.
All right, right on. Thank you so much, Eggert. Here we go. JTP, Justin Pollock. This is a buy run, so the way he pulled his number 3. So from Kalamazoo, Michigan, let's take a look at his Roush performance, the Falcon Tire Roush performance Ford Mustang out there on track. Just listen to the sounds. And there it is, originally from Michigan. I know Mr. and Mrs. Pollock always cheering him on, and his wife and son, Jackson, cheering him on. Here we go. Love the throwback kind of intimidator Dale Earnhardt livery there for Taylor Hull, coming to us from Georgia. Dean Carney coming to us from Ireland, a new operating team for his vehicle. The Oracle Lighting, Achilles Tire. Both these guys rocking Achilles. The Dodge Viper running a turbo setup, being debuted last year, and now getting a little more refined, operated out of Texas. Dean Carney doing his sight lap. This is our third to last battle here in top 32. We will have that halftime break as we're scheduled to be back on later this afternoon, taking a look at the schedule for my own sake as well as yours. Current local time, just about 2:10, as we will be back on live stream for our top 16. We'll line up the cars for opening ceremonies, 3:45. So have a little bit of time, but here are the stats between Carney and Hull. 1250 versus 900 horsepower. The Cadillac ATS-V of Taylor Hull looking lean and mean right now. Dean Carney, Dodge Viper turbo setup from Waterford Island, as Taylor Hull see if he can intimidate Carnage, Dean Carnage Carney. I believe they are pulling up the start line. There is Dean Carney. He'll come around. Dean will lead. Slaughter number 14, Taylor Hull in 19. And Taylor Hull going all the way down, and he'll come on back for his first battle here in the 2020 season. Ryan, what do you think of everything that's transpired so far here in 32?
Feels like a Formula Drift event.
Would define like that.
A little bit of craziness, some awesome drifting. You know, I'm sure there's going to be, you know, some look backs at certain runs. Obviously, great vehicle diversity. So grateful to have fans out here, which is awesome. You know, we're also expecting that may hold for some of the other rounds as well. But I think in this year, everything is great.
Yeah. All right, right before we go to the action, throw it down to Laurent Nickel, who's with JTP.
JTP, for a new build, he's had minimal issues. He's happy with his off-season changes. The base setup of the car is working really well. He's added a quick change differential and a sequential gearbox. The car's making more power and is lighter, and it's working really well. Overall, JTP said he's just happy to be out here. Guys?
Thank you, Laurent, giving some updates there on JTP with that bye run. It looked good out there by himself, sounded good, looks healthy stats-wise, but now we're going to find out who he's going to go against. Is it going to be the boy from Ireland or the boy from Georgia? As we got Dean Carnage versus Taylor, full pull hole, as we are getting ready for run 1 of this battle. Sight lap completed, and hopefully we don't see any fluids out on track before top 16. That way we don't need to see the sight laps once again. Dean Carney out of the start, out of the jump, no cones hit, clean start. Dean Carney initiating into that first outside zone. Taylor Hull dropping into formation, that Cadillac ATS-V into the second outside zone. Taylor Hull, comp cams, Achilles tire Cadillac. Swings it into that final outside zone. Dean Carney running all the way out to the track edge. Pretty tidy run there for both the drivers.
Yeah, and nice move by Hull towards the end. You can see he was trying to gain some proximity in that last corner there, kind of cut the line a little bit, but did that in a way to give himself that proximity. Starts off pretty strong here. Dean coming out of that first outside zone. A little bit of a bump tap right there by Hull, but nice job on that inside clip. Carney, obviously big power, and this is where I think Taylor makes a right move. Tucks up in the pocket, gets right there, and then jumps on the line quickly that Dean was on. So here it is coming out of outside zone 1. Snappy transition back around there by Dean Carney in the lead position. Taylor Hull coming through that inside clip as Dean sets up this final transition back around, and here's Hull diving in on the inside. Cut the line for a second, but then right there through the finish line, he's able to get back on the correct line as the chase driver. So now we'll see things switch up here as Taylor Hull will go to the lead and Dean Carney will chase him down.
Let's see how Taylor Hull handles it out front. Just seems like a new livery, a new look, maybe a new mission here for 2020 for Taylor Hull. And I know Dean Carney saw him out at Grid Life a couple weeks ago as well, testing that thing out, the turbo setup, getting it dialed, getting it right. And here we go. Taylor Hull out front, comp cams, Achilles tire, Cadillac ATS-V. Dean Carney, Oracle lights. You can see the lights are on, and so are the tires. Light them up, boys. Taylor Hull into that second outside zone, flicks it in. Really aggressive flick by Hull. Carnage. Out to the third zone goes Taylor Hull. Man, really on the edge of the track. Hull bring it all the way out. Ooh, it looks like Dean actually going out and exceeding the edge of that outside zone, Ryan. And man, like I said, it seems that Hull is really taking on that intimidator mindset.
Well, they talked about a lot of the effort that they put into the vehicle over the offseason. He's feeling good as a driver, and it's showing here in this top 32 debut in 2020. Nice little initiation at that last standing cone. Dean trying to close the door here. Taylor, great job on that second outside zone. Compression there on that inside clip by both drivers. Dean sticking it pretty nicely here to Taylor, but right here you can see Dean's going to go a bit off course as Taylor stays on the right line there in that final section. Here it is one more time. Coming out of outside zone 2 into the inside clip. Hull into the third outside zone with Dean following the right line here, then Hull transitions. Great job on that outside zone, but Dean with a bit too much momentum is going to go a bit off course there towards the end.
Both these guys waiting to see the outcome. Looks like Dai Yoshihara pulls up to the line. Sopa says, go ahead, take your sight lap. Because next up, we got Dai Yoshihara versus another Formula Drift rookie. Again, it's so funny how the rookies versus the veterans. Again, we had 04 driver, since 04, Forsberg versus rookie LZ, Vaughn Gittin Jr., 04 veteran going against Jonathan Narin, and now Dai Yoshihara, 04 veteran, going against another rookie. So those are the true drivers that have started since day one. Oh, and Ken Gushi as well. Ken Gushi, another driver since 04, going against Robbins. So very interesting here, waiting for, and it looks like, here we go.
Judges requesting a replay here, so obviously this one being debated in their own minds as we have Ryan Lantane watching from home, I think is probably where he's at, and remote judging for him, the other two judges here in the tower. But it does look like a replay is being called, and here it is. It's a side-by-side, taking a look at both runs together. And you at home can follow along. Who had the better overall performance here? Lead run to lead run, chase run to chase run comparison, and who ticked all the boxes for the most part? Do we have a driver that we can say has a meaningful advantage after both runs and therefore should get the win, or is it just in that threshold of a one more time?
Yeah, the BC Racing side-by-side replay, the official suspension of Formula Drift. BC Racing, go for gold. All right, just a couple more battles here in the NOS Energy Drink Top 32. Slide them right for Taylor Hull. One more time from Ryan Lantane. Slide them left for Carney, and Taylor Hull gets the win. Taylor Hull gets the victory, taking out Dean Carnage Carney. Brian Eggert going down to you on a wrap out with you, the judge, as again, seems that Chris Yule and Brian Eggert go with Taylor Hull. He's got to be elated, Brian.
Yeah, I just heard from Ryan. He actually was, after watching the side-by-side, wanted to go with Hull for the win as well, so I guess he wanted it to be unanimous. I went with Hull. Basically, it came down to leads. Hull's lead was probably the best I'd seen from him all weekend, and it was like no mistakes. There was just one tiny thing for Kearney's, who also did really good. He was just slightly off at outer zone 2 in his lead. For chases, they both had similar mistakes to kind of evened out for me, so that's why I gave the lead and the win to Hull.
Nice, yeah, and again, Chris Yule here in the building. Ryan, you said it. That's actually the first time we've kind of brought it up. Is Chris Yule, Brian Eggert. They are here in the judges' tower. Ryan Lantane actually back home in Toronto, Canada, and he is judging remotely. There is currently how the top 16 shakes up right now. Currently only top 14. So we have 2 more battles left to go. Next up, most recently, Pikes Peak Unlimited Class winner in a different vehicle, but now this guy has gotten a lot of seat time, not only in real life, actually tangibly, but also digitally. He's been doing a lot of sim racing, and he's going against another rookie, Tyler Nelson from Mooresville, North Carolina, behind the wheel of his Ford Shelby Super Snake Mustang, and Dai Yoshihara from Japan in his turbocharged LS BRZ. This thing's a rocket ship, and we always say how this vehicle is very subdued, kind of quiet, but still violent. That's kind of like Dai Yoshihara. Not that he's violent, but he's ready to throw down. All right, here we go. Dai Yoshihara will lead, and Tyler Nelson giving chase. I mean, I've never seen Dai mad, have you? Right, here we go. Dai Yoshihara, he's going for it. Tyler Nelson in a chase position, an FD rookie. Old school versus new school. There you go, Jay. As Dai Yoshihara into that front clip. You see Tyler Nelson, he barely had any angle there. He's taking a lot of angle out of the car. Whoa, Dai Yoshihara really going offline there on that outside zone. I was taking a look at it, Ryan, from overhead. It looks like, again, really exceeding the edge of what's defined as the track in that outside zone.
Well, I just want to point out, as we spoke about with Narin, Nelson as well also missed all of Thursday practice, so really getting just a first few looks at this track this morning. And you can see right here, obviously, that preparation, that full 5 hours of practice between the Pro 2 guys on Thursday is really that time to kind of shake down the vehicle, the track, kind of understand it. So Nelson trying to put together something good here against Daijiro Yoshihara, but you can see he was quite shaky, just really never got settled in the vehicle. Dai out front is really doing an incredible job of showing you what the lead driver is supposed to be doing, giving the chase driver an opportunity, filling the zones completely, hitting that inside clip precisely. Now we do see some pressure applied here toward the end, but obviously there was a bit of some moving and shaking around in the vehicle. Doesn't really have that consistency that you want to have in the chase position. You really want to see that aggressive door-to-door action, give yourself that best advantage as you move over to your lead run. But now he's going to have to use his lead run as a way to try to give a point of difference against Dai, who just had a nice lead run of his own. So it's hard to do that.
Yeah, it's gonna get difficult, and especially Harry for Dai as well. You know, hey, all right, cool, just showed up, just drove Pikes Peak, you raced up this mountain, nine minutes, and hey, go ahead and go against somebody you've never run before. As we are, all right. So as throw it down to you, Taylor Hull. All right, Lorette, we'll get back to you in just
Taylor
a
Hull,
moment.
You have been in pro for 4 years. You just took the win. Congratulations.
Woo! We won it. I'm so happy. I can't believe the journey that it's been to get to this point. I have to thank everybody that's helped me, all of the partners all along the way, even the ones that aren't any longer with us. But Comp, Affirm, Achilles, obviously, Yellow Speed, Liquid Molly. I mean, it's unbelievable. My crew, my wife, my spotter. It's I'm fighting back the tears here, trying to get this.
Congratulations. Guys, this means so much to him. He has been battling through so many different issues. Taylor Hull, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, raw emotion there for Taylor Hull. See, the Intimidator could crack, right? Taylor full pull, Hull full on tears there. Ryan, it seems like we had a couple issues there in between the runs. That's why we threw down to Lorette. So a little bit of miscommunication.
They were wanting to look at the vehicles, and somebody said judges was actually the tech staff that wanted to look at the vehicles to see what was going on.
Right, all right, so back to the action. Here we go, Tyler Nelson, Dai Yoshihara. Tyler Nelson out front at Shelby Ford Mustang. Nice job by him. As Dai Yoshihara seems to be kicking back here. He can't kick back too much. We saw a pretty aggressive Nelson, and there he goes, removing that front clip. Now Nelson into the outside zone. Oh, Nelson going, now look at that, he gets into the dirt, Ryan. That could be a fatal error there for Tyler Nelson on his lead run. So as Dai Yoshihara, like I said, I think he was like, whoa, what's going on here? Tyler pulling away from him, surprised him, and then unfortunately Tyler, definitely a rookie move, just overcooked it.
Well, we talked about this earlier with some of the other drivers where they had a shaky lead run. What does the chase driver do when they go to the lead? And you can see Dai here, I think he plays it pretty well. He kind of sticks back a little bit, made a tiny mistake there being too tight on that inside clip. Doesn't get super close, not knowing exactly what to expect. And look at this, you can see Nelson goes really off course there prior to the finish line. And probably better that Dai did not follow him out in that area.
Right.
It also drops a tire here, kind of angles up. Dai makes a good adjustment because he was just far enough back to have that semblance of proximity, but not put himself in a position where there could be damage to the vehicle if something did occur. He ends up making a little bit of a mistake here, but obviously if we're looking at both the lead runs and the chase runs together, it looks like Dai, who doesn't get all the way out and finish that final zone, may have been trying to anticipate where is Nelson going to go in this last section of the course. Do I need to play it more safe than usual? But now we'll go to the judges for the final result. Yeah, it
definitely seemed like the case here. So one more battle after this, if we get a decision, as Tyler Nelson and Dai Yoshihara slide him left for Daijiro Yoshihara, right for Tyler Nelson. Again, another OG. Dai Yoshihara, 04, been competing since 04, gets the win. Tyler Nelson, welcome to Formula Drift Pro Championship. You get dealt not only an OG, not as it's a day one, but also an FD champion, and now a Pikes Peak Unlimited class champion as well. So Dai Yoshihara gets the victory in his turn 14 distribution, Falcon tires, Ineos Oil, Subaru BRZ. Tyler Nelson knocked out in his Shelby Cobra Super Snake. So Tyler Nelson, we'll see you tomorrow at round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Only one more battle left to go, kids. Ryan, Odi Bakshis and Rome Charpentier.
Yeah, and look at that bracket starting to stack up for the top 16. We put it in those quadrants so you can see exactly the path that each driver needs to take. And it's looking like a strong top 16 here as we will have our halftime break, come back and have our first opening ceremonies of the 2020 season. But first, we've got to get through Odi Bakshis and Rome Charpentier.
Yeah, Rome, as he shared his story, his road to from San Diego out here. Saw his dad was here. His mom actually messaged me and said, hey, can you help? But even before I put something out there, all of the message and all the help definitely went his way. So excited to see Rome out here. Glad to see he's okay. His wife, his team, and of course his vehicle, but more importantly him. But Odi Bakshis from Lithuania originally. Ryan, he has just been a contender. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. And I mean that because he has not won a championship. Could this be the year for him to where it really just kind of all comes together?
I think it could. You know, obviously he had the best start that we've seen historically at the end of last year. And as we take a look here at Pedal Commander, if you would like to participate, use code FD2020 for $30 off, and you can get a discount on Pedal Commander materials and different items from them. Super stoked they're sponsoring Matt Field this year, and great to see them in the series. So check out Pedal Commander, use code FD2020.
Yeah, gain faster acceleration, 20% of fuel economy, plug and play. Will not void your vehicle warranty, so check out Pedal Commander, use code FD2020 for $30 off. Ryan, only one more battle. Started out, I don't want to say wonky, but some scenarios, how it unfolded. The Ken Gucci, kind of interesting. Wonder if we're going to hear some backlash because of that. I know they worked really hard, including Ken and his team, but pretty interesting start.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously the guys have a lot of anxiety and anticipation coming into this year. It obviously manifested itself at the beginning of the top 32. It looks like we're getting into a good flow now, but we have the big show to come, the top 16, after we get through this battle. And you mentioned, you know, Odi Bakshis not getting to that championship yet. Could this be the year that we really see this happen? And from what I come to expect from Odi, he's willing to put everything on the line and go out there and win a championship.
Here we go, Odi Bakshis out front in that Falcon Tires field suspension. S14.5, Rome in his garage Aztek vehicle, that BMW. Well done by Odi Bakshis. And here comes Rome, working those Achilles. A new zest for life there from Rome as Odi Bakshis puts it together. Look at Rome, or excuse me, Odi quickly coming back to the start line. Let's do it, send it.
And you know, Odi setting up that vehicle himself and obviously switching over in the off season. And you know, a lot of times people would think that that's a, you know, kind of a scary thing to do. But Odi looking strong here. Looks like the car is prepped and tuned appropriately. And taking a look at Charpentier after the crazy week that he's had, not too shabby here as he dives in on that final section of the course. And Odi just blowing out that marker to the outside zone. Here it is, leaving OZ1, going into 2. Really smooth from Odi and great proximity here from Rome. Just a little bit less angle leaving inside clip and a tiny bit of separation, but Rome accelerates, uses that angle to slow the car down, try to get right in the pocket as Odi keeps the angle on and accelerates through the finish line.
Shout out to Jay Brad. I know he's watching from the comfort of his own home and his own garage. He was the spotter there when Odi's wife, Amy, couldn't spot. So shout out to Jay Brad for watching at home. Work a Falcon Tire employee. Here we go. Rome now out front in that BMW E36. Odi will be given chase. Can Rome defeat what I think to be a real championship contender this year in the 2020 season? Here we go, Rome. His dad cheering him on from the pits. Garage Aztek. And transitioning through that second outside zone into the front clip, takes it out. Odi, look at that chase job, Ryan. That is the closest we've seen consistently throughout the run. And then Odi risking for the biscuit. Oh boy, Odi pushing hard into the side of Rome. Ryan, bit off more than he could chew. This is the second portion of this run. I heard a lot of exhales, heavy sighs here from the Garage Aztek BMW Rome. Looks like we're holding off there, the bumper. Ryan, the big thing here is, as we always say, who's at fault? What transpired? Did Odi push? It seemed that he just lunged forward, but we saw it earlier where it seemed apparent that Alec Robbins, on first glance, he was aggressive, but at the end of the day, we saw the judges called that Ken Gucci slowed down.
Well, let's take a look at the run first, because most of this is going to be inconsequential other than the setup for this final section. And you were talking about how close Odi was coming out of outside zone 3, really moving up quick here with momentum. You see the collision, and we call it a collision in this case because the run actually stopped, not a point of contact or contact where the run continues. When you have a collision, it means that the run is stopped and it falls into a different category. In this one, the run did stop here, so we're gonna see it from this angle one more time. Super close in proximity is Odi Bakchis. The transition back around here, there will be a decel zone in that area, and then Odi and Rome make a big collision there, right in the middle of outside zone 4.
Yeah, another S15 here in the mix. Love Odi's car. Again, he's had a few different iterations. S13, S14, S14.5, and now running the true S15 setup as Rome in the E36. These guys both waiting. Fortunately, I hate to say it, it was the second half of this battle, so things don't get kind of wonky as far as fixing the vehicle, calling comp timeouts, who's at fault, like you said, collision as opposed to damage. One more look, judges are requesting, Ryan.
Yep, looking at it again. You can see Odi really aggressive on that chase run, really getting side by side, coming through that inside clip. Incredible job there. Rome taps the inside clip. It looks like there was a little bit of tire-to-tire action there as well. And then right here, Rome, big e-brake pull. Odi sees it. They make contact, and then they kind of slide out until both spin out in the middle of outside zone 4.
And both of us were giving, you know, Odi accolades as far as how exciting that was in that third outer zone. But as he came out of 3 into that last and final outer zone, I think he just pushed too hard. I didn't see massive stopping. Ryan, here is a look at the map.
So so take a look at this. This is where the expected decelerations are supposed to happen. And remember, in outside zone 1, the judges said Ken Gucci accelerated in this area of the blue right here. And where we saw this happen was actually probably right at the edge of the red right before outside zone 4. So that's what the judges are looking for there to see if it was acceptable or not. Now that you've seen that map, let's take a look at it again. You see that decel area, the red zone that we're calling it this year, that it should be expected that the drivers are going to be decelling in that particular area right at the beginning of outside zone 4. Here it is right here. There's the beginning of outside zone 4. So the collision does not happen in the decel area. And the judges now, it looks like they've kind of wrapped things up here. And hopefully we will find out who's moving on into the top 16.
Oh man, so Ryan, we are getting an update from the judges. Looks like, Ryan, the rules specifically say trunk, hood, latch, doors. So Ryan, unfortunately, watch this.
Oh, that's what they're calling out?
The door opens on the driver's side. Yeah. So very unfortunate. Yeah, we're taking a look at that, and you can see the door open, but we've always said this: trunk, hood, latch, door, all of those things. Your car needs to be buttoned up. And
yeah, I'm just wondering, you know, what yes, the door opened there, but what will happen? Are they going to want to rerun the second half because the door opened? Usually the meaning of that rule basically means that, you know, it's a distraction to the chase driver. That's why it has to be buttoned down. So, you know, the intention behind that is that, hey, a hood pops up, it distracts his attention for a little bit. You know, a bumper falls off, it goes underneath the wheel. That's the intention of that rule. So I'm wondering what they're pointing that out for. Are they saying that would have been a distraction for Odi, or are we going on a technicality here? We'll definitely need to talk to the judges after this to see how they're, you know, interpreting the usage of that rule.
All right, so Chris, Ryan, and Brian deliberating here. Like you said, it's unfortunate. I know what you're saying in regards to the big one is, I remember back in the day, somebody's trunk would open, and it really became an issue. That is definitely, that throws you off. It's very distracting. It throws off the flow of it. Like, holy cow, is that thing gonna fly off at me? You know, as opposed to, all right, door opens real quick. Do you rerun it, or do we have a verdict?
We haven't had one of these in such a long time.
Right.
You remember, it's usually like the hood pops open, then it becomes a visual problem for the driver.
Here we go. Sorry to cut you off, but Odi Bakchis, Chris Ewell. So Ryan Lontaine says Odi Bakchis as well, and I assume Brian Egger. It's unanimous. So Brian Egger, down to you. As like you said, it's unfortunate what happened with Rome and Odi, but I heard you talking to Ryan and Chris.
Yeah, so we were discussing it and we were looking at it, and as we were watching the replays leading up to this is when we noticed the door opening, and technically based on the rules, the run's over at that point because nothing latchable can open during the run. So even though it is a technicality, it is part of the rules and we have to abide by it.
Okay. Ryan,
so that
Sage?
run results in an incomplete for Rome. Yeah,
no, I understand where they're coming from. For me, the intention of that rule is it's supposed to be a distraction. When the door opened, it was on the other side. I'm not sure that Odie could even see it. So this is one of those technicalities where, from like an emotional standpoint, I feel I'm at odds with it.
I hear you, man. I hear you. It's very unfortunate. Here it is once again. So watch on the transition. Watch that driver's side. And there it is. It starts to open. It's the back door, it looks like. It looks like the back door. It's a big four-door E36 sedan. And like you said, the technicality of it looks like might have just closed. I mean, there it goes once again. And this, unfortunately, could be contributed to the accident that happened. I mean, the car flipped a couple times inside a trailer, and I'm just happy to see he's okay, and I'm sure he could chalk it up. And, you know, it's unfortunate. We might hear from it, or we might hear repercussions of it. But Ryan, looks like our top 16 set.
Can we get Brian back on? I want to ask him what, just on the collision.
Yep.
What was going to be the interpretation on that?
We were still looking at it, and that's when we came across the other. I'd have to talk with the other guys and see what their final call would be on it. But
was Rome slowing in a non-decel area, or was Odie going too fast, like at your first blush?
My first reaction might be a little bit of both. It did look like that Rome was going to go at least drop one wheel off the track, so there was that, and then you have Odie following him. So I'd have to watch it a few more times just to get a good, solid answer to give you that I'd believe in. But I almost feel like it might be a combination of the two. Like he was going a little bit hot going off. Odie's kind of following him and doing the same suit, and then his car kind of grips up a little bit, and then they make contact before we could see what really transpires.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you to all our fans. And Lorette Nickel, down to you. What's up?
Well, guys, down here, the team of Rome Charpentier is taking the hood of the car off. You can see that there's some damage right here. Checking out the door, why that popped open. And again, Rome Charpentier was in that really horrific car accident in New Mexico, and there was some damage sustained to the top of the car. Rome sitting in his car, obviously very disappointed, and we're just waiting for him to pop out. And Rome can't actually get out of the car. What they're doing is popping him out. So Rome can't get out of the car, but they are popping it open with a screwdriver right now. All right, we're going to take a walk around the car so we can get to Rome, looking at the guys. Trying to get the guys are trying to get the body panels off of the car so that they can get to Rome. And Rome in the driver's seat right now. Rome.
Climb out that side. So, yeah, I felt like we ran a pretty good run. I'm not sure why we lost. I think the spotter said that this door got hit and got open. So I think we lost because of the door open on outer zone 2. So I was not aware of it, but you know, I guess it is what it is. So we have to try again tomorrow.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was a lot of replays. They made sure that the door did open, and that's why the win went to Odie.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, Odie was a phenomenal driver, so it's always been my dream to battle him. So this is totally fine, not a big deal. At least we put up a fight. Don't know what happened at the very end. I just remember flicking and seeing a bright like Falcon car coming at me, which I'm used to Odie diving in right at me, but he just got a little close, touched the front wheel, which kind of spun us together. So yeah, other than that, it's no big deal. We will figure out. As you can see, my crew chief over here wrenching on the car. We're trying to get out of the car, but I'll probably end up coming out that way. So no hard feelings. We love Odie. That guy's awesome. So yeah, can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. But good luck, Odie. Hope you take it to the top, man. I'll see you guys soon.
Rome, thank you.
Absolutely.
Jared.
Class act, absolutely class act there. Rome Charpentier, that was good, man. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. You know, your weekend is not over here just yet because we got round 2 tomorrow at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Ryan, top 32, whittled down to 16. Exciting. All killer, no filler, no qualifying. Next stop, top 16.
It feels nice to be back in the booth. It feels awesome to see these guys go out there and put their hearts on the line, their vehicles going crazy, finding a way to win, getting into the top 16. And now the second half of competition, we're going to see just that to find out who's going to stand on top of the podium tonight.
Right on. We're practicing social distancing in the paddock. We're masked up. No social distancing on the track. We want to see them as close as possible. Thank you so much for joining us here. Remember, we got deals throughout the day. So Royal Purple, buy any 5 quarts of Royal Purple high performance motor oil and receive a free box of Royal Purple nitrile work gloves by mail. And they're swipeable too. I like that. So you can actually get on your phone, change your oil. Royal Purple, Dylan Hughes, we'll see him in top 16. So awesome things unfolding here. Royal Purple, the official engine oil of Formula Drift. So we have halftime. When we come back, the top 16, 3:45 local time. Local time currently right now, just about 2:40. So in about an hour, we'll be back here live from Worldwide Technology Raceway, top 16. There are your drivers. These are the gladiators doing battle at round 1 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. On behalf of Ryan Sage, Lorette Nickel, I'm Jared Dienda. We'll see you back here in about an hour to send it here in St. Louis.